In the events of Dead Queen, our story starts off talking about the 5 mass extinction events and how they are all associated with some predatory species sitting at the top of the food chain with a great biomass. It also goes on to inform us that the 6th mass extinction event is right around the corner. Flash to this rundown city and you see people that are in a state of decay or a state of metamorphosis, so to speak. These people are walking the street eating rats with a girl stating that she will get stronger. She will get stronger, that way she could protect her friends. She will become the queen. Flash to this high school, you see this young man known as Jongbin talking to his classmate, Hanhui. These two are good friends, they've known each other for many years, and Hanhui actually has a crush on Jongbin, but Jongbin is clueless, and it turns out Jongbin actually has a crush on another one of their classmates named Ayeong, and Ayeong is kind of a bitch, and it turns out Ayeong doesn't like Jongbin at all, but she does like Jongbin's best friend, that being Juhyeon. And Juhyeon is your typical popular guy that's good at everything and all the bitches want to bang Juhyeon. But Juhyeon actually has a crush on Hanhui. So this whole shit show is a love triangle with hardly anyone getting their desired result. Now Ayeong is attempting to ask Juhyeon out, but unfortunately she gets rejected because Juhyeon actually likes Hanhui. So Jongbin sees this and he figures this will be the perfect time to move in for the kill. And so he tries to move in on Ayeong, but this man gets rejected so hard and she makes an absolute fool out of him. And then on top of that, she tells him to stop liking all her photos and shit too. Next thing you know, the warning sirens start blaring and you see a bunch of bugs start filling the sky and start feasting on the kids. So these kids start retreating and a bunch of kids converge in the same location and they end up taking refuge in this food storage shack. Now these kids are in this shack for quite a few days, and the problem with the kids is Ayeong is a psychopath and Jongbin has a crush on Ayeong, so he's going out of his way to accommodate this bitch because he thinks he might be able to pull her. Spoiler, he can't. And Hanui's pissed about that because she likes Jongbin, so she doesn't approve of the way he's acting, especially during an emergency time like this. And Juhyeon is just being Juhyeon, while this other bitch, Minji, is an actual absolute psychopath and their personalities are all clashing with each other. But the group has plenty of food, but they are completely out of water, which is a situation they're going to be forced to deal with. Now, while the kids are holed up inside this food storage shack, we flash to this bitch named Jamin. Now, Jamin is making her way through school and she's not getting attacked, as it would appear she's infected and undergoing some kind of metamorphosis. Now, I believe Jamin was one of the girls that got taken by the bugs earlier, but here she is. Now, this girl is hungry and she eventually finds the food storage shack and she finds the group holed up inside, but the group won't let her in and this pisses her off immensely. But the group does offer food for whatever water she brings them. So although she's extremely jaded, she does agree to bring water in exchange for food. Now, as she's making her way through the school accumulating water, she notices she's transforming more and more, and so she stabs herself and she leaks some of her blood into the water and she exchanges the water to the group. Now the group proceeds to give her any food they have in exchange for the water, and the group drinks the water, all but one of the students. Now, in the coming days, as they drink more and more of the water, nothing happens, and Jamin is puzzled by this. Nevertheless, Jamin is tired and she retreats to the classroom to undergo further transformation. Now, during the time that the group is stuck inside the food storage shed, eventually some paramilitary motherfuckers break inside and the group thinks they're about to be rescued, but these military motherfuckers have ulterior motives. But they do leave the kids a present in the form of several syringes as well as a pistol, and then the soldiers proceed to leave the area and lock the kids back inside the shed. Now, as Jamin awakens from her metamorphosis, she further transforms into this praying mantis looking creature. Nevertheless, she's still pissed off about the group not letting her inside the food storage shed, so now she's ready to break inside. So she makes her way to the shed and she tells the group to open the shed up, but the group still refuses to do so because fuck that. But she informs the group that she could simply break down the door now, so if the group doesn't open up, she's going to do so. And she proceeds to actually do it. And now that she's inside the food storage shed, she proceeds to question each one of the group about why they wouldn't let her inside. Now, luckily for Juhyeon, he's not the one she's here to kill, because as it turns out, she actually has a crush on Juhyeon. And Juhyeon actually manages to convince her to leave without killing anyone for now. But on her way out, she brings the group more water before spitting green ooze into the bottle. So as the days go by, the group is out of water, but no one has thrown out the bottle of water that Jamin spit in earlier. And Jamin is observing the group from a distance, and she notices that. Nevertheless, she wants to come back and get Juhyeon. So the next day, as Jamin is observing Juhyeon, she breaks in the shed once again, and she easily overpowers the group, and then she proceeds to take Juhyeon as well as Hanhui. Now, after this happens, Ayeong wants to escape, and she wants Jongbin to help her because they have these syringes that the soldiers left, and they hypothesize that the serum inside the syringes will actually protect them from all the insects that's outside, but none of the group are willing to take the first syringe. Now, Ayeong is trying to convince Jongbin to help her overpower Minji so she can inject Minji with the first syringe. But Minji is just like fuck, because she knows Jongbin is kind of a pushover and he has a crush on this bitch. But as Jongbin turns his back, Ayeong injects him with the first syringe. This causes Jongbin to panic and fall outside, and since he didn't get attacked by any of the bug, this causes Ayeong to come to the conclusion that the serum actually works, so she proceeds to inject herself. But before she leaves, she spits in Minji's face, and as she makes her way towards the door, Minji shoots her in the back of the head, seemingly killing her. But before Minji can make her escape, she falls asleep from some kind of spores in the air, and by the time Minji wakes up, Jongbin is gone and Ayeong is gone, even though Ayeong was shot in the face. Flashback to Jamin, and Jamin has taken Juhyeon as well as Hanhui into the school, and she's wrapped them up into a cocoon in order to force them to undergo metamorphosis. Now, she knows these two kind of like each other, so she kind of plans to devour Hanhui, but at the same time this is going on, Jongbin is making his way towards Juhyeon and Hanhui so he can free them. Now at the same time all that is happening, it would appear that Ayeong has underwent metamorphosis and she is now hunting Jamin. Now Jamin takes Hanhui to another location, so by the time Jongbin finds them, he only finds Juhyeon, but he proceeds to free Juhyeon so they can proceed to search together. Now at the same time all this is going on, there's another half-breed hybrid military badass named Hilda that has seemingly orchestrated a lot of this, and she's watching the events unfold from the shadows. Now eventually, Ayeong does manage to find Jamin, and by the time she finds Jamin, a massive fight ensues with Ayeong getting the better of Jamin. And once she defeats Jamin, Jamin pleads for mercy, but Ayeong will not give her mercy, and Ayeong proceeds to devour her. Now when we catch back up with Jongbin, we see him and Juhyeon have located Hanhui, and Hanhui appears to be inside this cocoon. Now the group is trying to figure out how to rescue Hanhui, but Ayeong manages to find them. Now as Juhyeon is trying to convince Ayeong to stop her murderous rampage, Ayeong is not really listening to Juhyeon, as Ayeong is enamored with Hanui's cocoon, and Ayeong actually proceeds to get inside the cocoon with Hanhui and subsequently proceeds to merge with her. Now as Jongbin and Juhyeon are watching over the cocoon, they start hearing blasts throughout the school. So Juhyeon tells Jongbin to stay with the cocoon as he goes and investigates the source of the blast, and as Juhyeon is investigating the source, he ends up meeting up with Minji, who is still alive, and Minji is trying to convince Juhyeon to leave with her, but Juhyeon will not leave Hanhui. Now as all of this is going on, the source of the blast is actually drone strikes and drone fire, as the paramilitary group is attempting to take down Hilda, the half-breed hybrid, but the problem with that is Hilda is a highly trained assassin, and she's highly skilled, and she's a force to be reckoned with, and Hilda ends up killing a lot of them. Like, a lot. Now, as Juhyeon and Minji are trying to escape all the gunfire and drone strikes, they eventually end up getting caught in a blast and they end up surviving, but now they're with Hilda, the half-breed hybrid. Now, Hilda proceeds to toy with the group as she's kind of holding them hostage, but not really, until the cocoon hatches, as she suspects the cocoon to possibly be a queen. Now, Hilda thinks Minji took one of the syringes, but Minji actually did not. So Hilda is wondering what's taking Minji so long to undergo metamorphosis, so Minji really wants to escape before Hilda figures out the truth. Now, as Juhyeon and Minji are in the custody of Hilda, she's actually teaching them some useful combat skills and fighting techniques so they can better defend themselves. Now, eventually, the soldiers close in on Hilda's location and they send in dog drones as well as other artillery to attempt to take Hilda out. But Hilda proceeds to make short work of almost everything thrown at her. So although Hilda seems to be destroying absolutely everything the military is throwing at her, the military says due to her nature as a half-breed, if she continues to fight at this level, she'll eventually overheat and her body temperature will rise, forcing her to lay low and retreat for a while. So they keep throwing more and more artillery at her, and this eventually results in a lot of the school being destroyed and devastated by explosions. But right before the explosions can reach Jongbin, Juhyeon, and Minji, Hanhui's cocoon finally hatches, and Hanhui emerges as this butterfly moth queen looking creature. Now, Jongbin was incapacitated earlier by Hilda to make sure the group would not escape. So as Hanhui emerges from the cocoon, she proceeds to bite Jongbin as he's still incapacitated. But Minji thinks he's feeding on her, but she states she's not feeding on him, she's simply reversing the stasis so they can escape. Now, unfortunately, the group is out of time as the explosions and drone strikes have come closer and closer to their location, but with the help of Hanhui, the group is able to retreat. Now, when we flash back to Hilda, we see Hilda has survived all the drone strikes and she's disappointed that the group has left, but no matter, she says after she eats and lowers her body temperature, we'll see how far the group gets.